You've heard the stories, the miracles, the sermons, but nobody tells you about the hours Jesus spent with stone under the hot Galilean sun. His hidden life as a builder. The hammer strikes again. Sparks of dust fly into the air, catching sunlight that filters through the tiny high windows of the stone-carved room. Jesus wipes sweat from his brow, chest heaving, and grins at Joseph. "Are you sure that edge is straight?" he asks, lifting the chisel carefully. Joseph leans back, arms crossed, a faint smirk on his face. "Straight enough. Don't go overthinking it. You'll crack it." Jesus laughs, the sound bouncing off the rock walls, carrying a kind of youthful defiance. The room smells like earth and stone and faint smoke from last night's olive oil lamp. There's no comfort here, just the hard limestone walls pressing close, the rough floor beneath his knees, and the low ceiling that forces every movement to be careful. But this is home. Every scrape, every carved mark, every small chip on the floor tells a story of work and endurance, of ordinary life turned extraordinary by the hands that live it. Outside, the courtyard is already alive. Goats bleat softly, scratching at the dirt, while chickens hop and scratch for early scraps. Mary is near the tabbouleh oven, blowing gently on the flames, a faint cloud of smoke curling into the air. She hums without thinking, a soft, rhythmic tune that carries across the yard. The smell of bread baking begins to drift into the stone room, mingling with the dust and sweat. Jesus pauses, takes a deep breath, and imagines the soft crumb of warm barley bread. "Better hurry with that chisel," Joseph calls from the doorway. "The sun won't wait, and Sepphoris isn't going to build itself." There's a teasing edge, but also the weight of expectation. Jesus nods and digs in again, hammer tapping stone in a slow, steady rhythm. Each strike feels alive, each chip a tiny victory or defeat. It's hard work, but it's honest. And it's shaping more than stone, it's shaping him. By mid-morning, his hands are raw and dusty, the knuckles scraped, fingers stiff. He leans back for a moment, wipes his brow, and looks toward the courtyard. Mary is grinding grain, her hands moving in circles that have probably shaped hundreds of meals. She talks softly to herself as she works, and Jesus can hear her counting the pulses, the rhythm of survival. The small courtyard, with its packed dirt floor and scattered stones, feels like the heart of their home. Every sound, every smell, every movement is part of the story of their life here. The family gathers for the mid-morning meal. No tables, no chairs, just mats spread over dirt, a small clay dish with lentils, a few pieces of bread, dried figs, and olives. Jesus tears a chunk of bread and passes it to Joseph. "Don't eat it all in one bite," Mary says with a mock frown. He chuckles, shoving a piece into his mouth. The taste is simple but sustaining, salty and dry in the way barley bread always is. Meals like this teach patience, sharing, and humility, though none of them would have called it that. It's just life, and it's enough. After they eat, Joseph slings a bag over his shoulder and motions to Jesus. "Time to see what the city has for us today." Sepphoris is just over an hour away. A city buzzing with activity, Roman influence, mosaics, and construction that stretches into the sky. Jesus sets down his small meal and follows, the sounds of the courtyard fading behind him. The grinding, the bleating, the laughter, and the world opens up to something bigger than their village. Walking through the narrow paths between houses, Jesus watches the villagers. Children are running, laughing. Dogs are barking. Merchants are shouting their wares. He sees the other builders too, their hands scarred, their backs bent, faces glinting with sweat. It's chaos and rhythm all at once. He takes it in, feeling the lessons hidden in the work and the interactions. Every glance, every command shouted, every argument over a misplaced stone teaches him something about people, patience, and persistence. At Sepphoris, the city is alive. Roman officials stride past, sandals clattering against stone. Workers are raising walls, fitting stones, and carefully arranging mosaics. The hammering of chisels and the grinding of stones fills the air. Jesus and Joseph join the others, shoulders straining, hands gripping tools passed down for generations. The work is relentless. The sun beats down. Sweat pours. Dust fills their lungs. Each stone has to be precise. One wrong cut, one misplaced block, and the whole structure could fail. He knows it, Joseph knows it, and the overseers certainly know it. During a brief break, Jesus wipes his face with a rough cloth. He looks at the mosaic being laid by a nearby craftsman. Tiny tiles forming a pattern that will outlast him, outlast the city itself. One day, Joseph says, noticing his gaze, "You'll look back at these stones and see more than work. You'll see lessons." Jesus nods, not fully understanding yet, but sensing that every strike, every careful measure, every sweaty hour holds something beyond mere labor. By midday, they stop for a light meal, bread and water again, but Jesus notices something. He notices how the bread is torn and shared among workers. He notices the way water from the cistern is poured carefully, never wasted. He notices the faces around him, the exhaustion, the pride, the patience. These are lessons no one writes down, no one preaches, but they shape him quietly, invisibly. Returning to Nazareth, the village sprawls below the limestone hills. The home is small, part cave, part constructed room, with walls that have seen centuries of hands shaping them. He steps into the courtyard. The goats are restless. The chickens are hungry. Mary is cleaning up, humming again. The tabbouleh oven is still warm from the morning. Jesus feels the fatigue from the city, from the work, from the relentless sun. But there's a quiet pride in the bones of the day. Evening falls. The sky burns gold, then softens to purple. Jesus climbs the flat roof, careful not to step wrong on the beams laid across the walls. The parapet is low but steady, keeping him safe from a misstep. From here, he can see the village below, the hills beyond, and the road to Sepphoris glinting in the last light. He sits, legs dangling, hands resting loosely on the smooth earth plaster. The courtyard sounds drift up, the grinding, the voices, the rustle of animals. He closes his eyes, murmuring the Shema quietly, connecting with something larger than himself. The day fades into the night. Lanterns are lit. The family gathers again, the evening meal simple but nourishing. Conversation flows easily, laughter punctuating the quiet. Joseph jokes about stubborn stones. Mary teases about breadcrumbs and goats. Jesus laughs, feeling the day's work in his muscles, the sun in his hair, the sweat on his back. He knows there's pride in it, even if others don't see it, even if the world beyond Nazareth will never know this side of him. When the household finally settles down, the reed mats laid on the dirt floor, cloaks folded as pillows, the room dark and still, Jesus lies down between Joseph and Mary. The low ceiling presses lightly against him. It's cramped, hard, and uncomfortable, but it's alive. The stone walls hold the echoes of the day, of laughter, of struggle, of work done well. Every ache, every blister, every sore muscle is proof of life lived fully. And yet, even in this ordinary, exhausting, sun-baked life, there's something extraordinary. Every stone shaped, every meal shared, every quiet prayer on the rooftop is a lesson. The world may never know the hours he spent like this, but it's here, in these small moments, that the foundation of his teachings is built. The streets, the villages, the work, the bread, the cisterns, they are the true canvas of his life. By nightfall, Nazareth is quiet, save for the distant bray of goats and the occasional clink of a pot. Jesus sleeps lightly, muscles aching, mind replaying the day. Hammer strikes echo in memory. Dust in the sunlight, sweat on skin. The world outside will never see this part, but this is the reality. This is the hidden life, the part nobody tells you about, and yet, it is as real as the stories that will one day be told about him. Morning will come again. The hammer will strike. Stone will resist. Bread will bake. Water will be drawn from the cistern, and he will be ready to do it all again. But for now, he sleeps, hidden in the simple stone house carved into limestone. A life lived quietly, intensely, fully human, and fully present. The first light of morning spills into the stone room again, catching dust motes in sharp beams. Jesus groans softly as he rolls out of the reed mat, back stiff, shoulders aching from the day before. The air is cooler now, just enough to make him shiver. Outside, the courtyard is alive already. A goat nudges the doorframe, and Mary's soft hum drifts across the stone walls. Even the low hum of early morning activity feels like music here. He takes a deep breath. Today will be long. It always is. Joseph is already at the workbench, chiseling a piece of limestone that refuses to bend. Hurry up, or you'll be late for Sepphoris, he calls without looking up. Jesus lifts his tools, the familiar weight comforting. The hammer, the chisel, the bow drill, they feel like extensions of his own hands, the scars and calluses proof of every lesson learned. They step outside together, the courtyard bustling more now. Mary is grinding grain, humming as she works. The goats are nosing the edges of the yard, the chickens scratching aggressively at loose stones. Water has been drawn from the cistern, thick with morning chill, and the family drinks it slowly, savoring every gulp. Don't waste it, Joseph says. Every drop counts. Jesus nods, knowing he'll carry that lesson with him today, and the next day, and the day after that. The road to Sepphoris is long, and the sun is already climbing high enough to make their shadows short. Jesus walks beside Joseph, feeling the heat radiate off the stones beneath their feet. Dust rises in little clouds with every step. They pass villagers heading to work, children running barefoot, shouting to each other. Merchants calling out prices for grain and olives. The smells of smoke, baking bread, and livestock hit him in waves. Each sense is alive, filling him with memory and attention to detail. At Sepphoris, the city hums with energy. Workers are everywhere. Stonecutters, masons, carpenters, raising walls, fitting columns, lifting mosaics. Roman overseers pace, calling out orders in clipped tones, their polished sandals clicking on stone. Jesus sets down his tools beside a half-carved block and begins again. Sweat drips into his eyes, dust scratches at his skin. Each hammer strike demands focus, patience, precision. One wrong blow, one careless movement, and the stone could fracture. And then the whole structure could fail. A fellow worker, older and grizzled, watches him for a moment. "You've got hands made for this," he says. Jesus doesn't answer immediately, just keeps chiseling, letting the sound of stone against metal speak for him. Later, during a brief break, Joseph nudges him. "See? You're learning faster than most of the others. Pay attention. Watch the way he holds the chisel, the angle of his hammer." Jesus nods. Every movement is a lesson, not just for building walls, but for understanding people, precision, patience, and care. By mid-afternoon, the heat is oppressive. Sweat runs down his back, his tunic sticking to his skin. Water from a shared jar is passed around the workers, and Jesus drinks slowly, mind alert despite the exhaustion. He looks at the stones they've fitted into place and feels a quiet pride, knowing that when the walls stand tall, he has left his mark. It's not glory, there's no crowd applauding, no teacher's praise, but it is satisfaction. The labor itself is proof. Lunch is meager, barley bread, lentils, and a few figs. The taste is simple, dry, but it's enough. As he chews, he watches the city around him. Men negotiating prices, workers complaining, overseers scolding. There's order and chaos intertwined. He sees the frustration of a man whose chisel slips, the joy of another who fits a stone perfectly. He notices the pride that comes with careful work, the humility demanded when the stone refuses to obey. And he notices how quickly tempers flare, how patience wears thin, how life in its ordinary rhythm mirrors the human heart. They return to Nazareth as the sun begins its slow descent. Jesus can feel every ache, every blister, every knot in his shoulders. He's covered in dust, sweat, and dirt, but there's a rhythm to it, a sense of purpose that he would carry into everything he does. In the courtyard, Mary has prepared the evening meal, lentils, barley bread, a few figs, water from the cistern. The aroma drifts through the low doorway, mingling with the scent of the stone and the fading warmth of the day. Dinner is quiet at first. Jesus tears bread, passes it to Joseph, and takes a small piece himself. "You worked hard today," Mary says, placing a hand briefly on his shoulder. He nods, tasting the simple food, feeling the exhaustion and pride intertwined. Conversation picks up, small jokes about stubborn stones, teasing about breadcrumbs, laughter from the goats outside. The ordinary life is intense, demanding, filled with small victories and quiet frustrations, and it shapes him in ways that no one could see. After dinner, they tidy tools, chase animals back into pens, and prepare the mats for sleep. No mattresses, just reeds, cloaks, and the hard floor beneath. The stone walls, carved centuries ago, hold the echoes of labor, laughter, and lessons. Jesus lies down, chest rising and falling, muscles sore but mind alive. The ceiling is low, the darkness presses close. It's tight, uncomfortable, but intimate. Every sound carries. Mary's soft movements, the distant bleat of a goat, the faint clink of a pot. Sleep comes in fragments, interrupted by the ache of muscles and the faint hum of wind against the limestone walls. Dreams are a jumble of stone and work, the sun above Galilee, the city beyond, people moving, talking, struggling. But there's a sense of continuity, a rhythm. The work will be there tomorrow, the stone will resist, the bread will bake, and the water will need fetching. Life is relentless, and yet it is full. The next day begins before the sun fully rises. Joseph is already moving, setting up tools, checking measurements. Mary stirs the grain for the morning meal. Jesus rises from the mat, stretches, and rubs the stiffness from his back. The courtyard smells of earth, animals, and the faint smoke from the oven. He steps outside, the cool stone under his bare feet, and takes a deep breath. Every day is the same and yet different. Every block shaped, every meal prepared, every prayer murmured carries its own lesson. He begins chiseling a new block, fingers gripping the worn handle of his chisel. The hammer strikes, and the sound fills the small space, echoing off stone and wall alike. He is fully present in the work, aware of every motion, every resistance from the limestone. "Keep it straight," Joseph mutters, checking angles and edges. Jesus nods, letting the rhythm take him over. Time blurs. The hours fold into one another. A cadence of labor, sweat, patience, and care. Mid-morning comes. Mary is grinding grain again, humming softly. Jesus pauses, wiping sweat from his eyes, and watches her hands, the motion precise, steady, unceasing. It's fascinating to him how every small action carries weight and consequence. The goats are restless, the chickens impatient, and the courtyard is alive with ordinary chaos. Yet everything has rhythm, structure, purpose. The house itself, part rock, part human hands, is alive with energy. Joseph gestures toward the road again. "Sepphoris won't wait for us. Pack your bag." Jesus lifts the small satchel with bread and water and follows his father, stepping carefully over the uneven stone path. The walk is long, dust kicking up with every step. The city awaits, loud, bright, overwhelming. Merchants shout prices. Children run, laughing. Dogs bark. Roman officials stride past, their sandals echoing. The world outside Nazareth is bigger, faster, harsher, and it is alive with opportunity, danger, and learning. The Sepphoris, the work is grueling. Walls rise, mosaics are laid, stone blocks shift with stubborn resistance. Jesus grips his chisel tightly, hammer striking, dust filling the air. Sweat drips into his eyes, stings, but he continues. One wrong move and the stone will crack, the building will fail. He watches other workers, older men with scarred hands, faces etched with lines from years of sun and toil. They nod at him occasionally, a silent acknowledgement. No words, just recognition of skill, effort, and attention. By afternoon, exhaustion sets in. His hands are raw, muscles heavy, yet he notices. He notices the precision in a colleague's hammer, the pride in a perfectly aligned stone, the frustration when a block refuses to fit. Every detail matters. Every action has weight. Even the smallest gestures, the tilt of a chisel, the sweep of a hand, the sharing of a simple meal, carry lessons beyond work. Jesus absorbs it all, slowly, quietly, without announcing it. When the day ends, returning to Nazareth, the family gathers in the courtyard again. The sun sets, turning limestone golden, then purple. Dinner is simple. Conversation flows easily. Joseph teases about stubborn stones. Mary laughs at spilled crumbs, and Jesus smiles, exhausted but alive. The courtyard dims, lanterns casting soft light on the limestone walls. The goats settle, the chickens are quiet, and the air smells faintly of bread and smoke. It's ordinary, humble, and extraordinary all at once. Jesus climbs onto the roof one last time, gazing at the hills, the distant roads, the village below. He whispers a quiet prayer, hands resting on the smooth earth plaster, the rhythm of life echoing in his chest. And in that moment you can almost feel it too, the weight of hard work, the taste of simple bread, the care of family, the beauty in ordinary life. If this glimpse into Jesus' hidden life has moved you, take a moment to reflect on the everyday miracles around you. Think about the work you do, the care you give, the small routines that shape who you are. And if you want to discover more hidden stories, the life behind the teachings, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who loves history or faith, and subscribe for more journeys into the lives we thought we knew. Because sometimes the most powerful lessons are hidden in the ordinary.